Hi there, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another short clip from Democracy Theater with your host, Rich Scott. Might not be so short this time. Anyway, here is why I don't want anybody from the progressive left to ever again comment on comedians and comedy until they go out and spend all those millions of dollars they have and buy themselves a sense of humor. Talking about Kyle Kalinske. I'm talking about Brian Taylor Cohen. I'm talking about the entire crew at the Young Turks and everybody else that comments on comedians and comedy, and the ones who are telling you that comedy and comedians are right wing. They are absolutely not, and they're absolutely full of shit. And the reason I got up my panties in a bunch this time is, of course, the CNN interview with Tim Dillon. One of the things that they go over is, well, let's take the clip and then I will join in after. Here we go.
Kind of platforms. Mm-hmm. That comedy, there's very, very successful comedians that are left of center comedians.
Like who?
I mean, what do you mean, like who?
Like?
Chelsea Handler. I think John Mulaney, probably. I think that you would find Sarah Silverman. I think Bill Burr, Louis C.K. He's never voted for a Republican in his life.
Did you see that? Did you see that? Louis C.K. And then she did that little slice his throat. So why would she say that?
Why? Because he's an imperfect person?
Why would she say that? Is she saying it because he's an imperfect person? Or because she doesn't actually know anything about him? So again, for those of you who do not know, during the whole COVID, Me Too, everybody got out. Louis C.K. got in trouble because he jerked off in front of people who actually voluntarily said they wanted to be there. These are adult women. He said, hey, I'm going to go up to my room. I'm going to jerk off. You want to see? They were there. He didn't force them. He didn't stand in the way. He didn't block them in the room. He said he wanted to jerk off. They said yes. Sarah Silverman said, yeah, I wanted to do that. I wanted to see it. So when he points him out, she goes, can't talk about him. Showing that she doesn't know how left he is. Now, for those of you who are older and been around for a while, you will know that after Howard Stern, Opie and Anthony was the shock jocks. Joe Rogan has called them the first actual kind of podcasty thing that was going on. The radio was certainly what inspired him. And if you listened at all, and I listened way too much to them and to old clips on YouTube, you would have found an episode with Louis C.K. having, first of all, they have a conversation there, obviously in a comedic style, that will never happen on CNN. A conversation that she will never have because it attacks directly the people that that she's protecting, the people that pays for the ads and everything else. But here's just a little bit of a sample of what goes on, and from Louis C.K. in his own words.
The other Atlantic City places, it's like you're faced with the economy you're hurting with everything you do. There's supposed to be more of a buffer there.
Yeah.
So they're talking about Atlantic City and going there as comedians and performing.
Or you can get lost in it. But Atlantic City, the dealer looks at you like, thanks for fucking up my hometown, asshole. Would you like another card? Like they just look depressed.
God damn, that is it.
You know?
Yeah.
My father owned a house and now I live in a fucking shack.
Right.
So that you could play blackjack.
I hope you're having fun.
Yeah.
Oh, look, blackjack.
I would hit on that, yes.
You so see the corruption. All you have to do is just drive around a little bit, less.
Has anybody ever seen a segment on CNN about the destruction of Atlantic City and how corrupt it is? Anybody? Has anyone ever seen CNN do a simple segment on that? Here, let's go in at 2 minutes and 20 just for the hell of it. Again, this is the imperfect right-wing comedian Louis C.K.
They got
Yeah.
jobs.
They got jobs everywhere. For
Jobs.
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 You know how many people they employ?
Jobs.
There weren't those jobs when it was
No.
before the casinos. I don't know
No,
what
there
would've
was
went on
just a
there.
really kind of a nice area
Steel Pierce. What the hell happened?
where someone could actually open a store and try to have a business instead of a job. But now they got jobs. They get to wear a vest and deal cards to fucking assholes and Gaddafis.
Yeah, Gaddafi.
They get to fucking.
great.
Ugh.
Jobs.
You mean people used to
Jobs.
open up their own family business down there?
Yeah, yeah. it
a
used to be a-
bakery, or
Right.
a delicatessen.
Yeah, wherever the
Something like
fucking
that.
wherever the Trump down there is does he have one down there?
Oh, he's
Oh,
got
yeah, he
the
does.
Taj
Trump
and the
Marina.
Marina. I don't know how much.
Yeah,
he
Trump
actually
Marina
really owed.
sitting where some guy used to have an old fish restaurant. He had the restaurant from 1850 in his family, and now it's a fucking Trump Marina hotel.
It's right there on the
I
water.
worked that fucking place, or is the Trump Castle? It was called.
I can go anywhere on this thing. Obviously, I went a little ahead and just to get the most just in the beginning, some interesting clip. Here, 4:30.
Like, oh, there they are. They were really excited. They saw them. Oh my God, there's Trump and the woman he's fucking illicitly. And they get on the elevator, and Trump looked miserable. I was in the elevator alone with him just by chance, and he just looked miserable. He looked so unhappy.
Yeah.
And all that money, I realized there's a weird, like, he has all this billions of dollars, but he's fucking miserable because he needs 100 billion to look in the mirror and not want to kill himself. He needs that. These old ladies from Kentucky, they don't need anything. They have like maybe $1,000 in the bank.
Right.
It's like they're coming. It's like a religion. Like they're coming to help him feel better. Like they're coming to give him money.
Giving him the money.
He's like, I have $100 billion and I don't fuck everybody. It's not enough. And these old ladies are like, I have maybe 1,000. You can have all of it.
I'll
Will that
give you
help?
all of it.
I'll take a bus all day to give it to you.
We could have pumped it into our own economy where we live.
Yeah, I could have given it to
maybe.
my neighbor's store that closed
Yeah.
last week.
But I figured I'd come all this way just to dump it into
Hopefully
this
make you a little
machine.
happier.
And here comes another conversation that they will, the neoliberals will never have. The Kyles and the Tyler Cohens and the Young Turks, they will not have this conversation because they will not tell us that we are part of the problem too. Listen up.
That's clever.
With the only buffer being this vague hope that I might
Yeah,
leave
that I
with
may be
more,
one
but,
of the trillions.
but it ain't gonna happen. So
No.
we'll just pour money.
I want to know more about the family fish business. The little restaurant
That
was
poor
there.
guy.
Forget that.
With his little boat. He would
Maybe a
just
little
go
bake
out
shop.
every day.
Bait shop on the pier.
No,
Oh,
he
bait
used
shop.
to wipe off the table when you walked in, and
Yeah,
he'd feel
nice,
real proud.
right?
Yeah,
Nice.
You'd smell like the ocean air. It was open windows in the summer.
small
the
town
small
economies.
businesses.
But it's not Walmart's fault. It's the fault of the fucking people. I used to have a house in upstate New York, and there's a town that had all these beautiful old diners and general stores,
Mhm.
and they all closed one by one because of Walmart. But it wasn't fucking Walmart's fault. It was the people that lived in that town.
Yeah.
that don't give a shit about their neighbors.
But is it giving
it's
a
the
shit?
American basic consumer who's like, well, okay, I could spend 13 cents less on a mop.
Yeah.
So fuck my fucking neighbor.
Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody forced us to shop at Walmart. Nobody forced us to become shake and bake. Right? But this conversation is never had on CNN. And she will never talk to Louis C.K. because he, even though he's a smart man, super intelligent. You should watch the whole thing he did about all the American presidents. It's on YouTube. Super smart, articulate, knows what the fuck he's talking about. But because he jerked off, he's not the right person, and therefore he's not acceptable to CNN. I think it's because he knows what he's talking about. I think it's because he's actually challenging their advertisers, who is the only thing keeping them afloat.
Fuck my neighbor who's had that store in his family for, who's taken care You know, there's like a million George Bailey moments in there, that town's history, where the whole, well, I'll give a check to your, baseball teams with names, John's General Store.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the whole community coming together to do stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I want to buy a Jim Carrey movie 3-pack for $7. So fuck the old movie theater with a Wurlitzer organ.
But think of Blockbuster Video. Now that caused a big thing because it pretty much closed down all the little mom and pop video stores.
Yeah.
Which was a great family business.
Which was a family business and shit like that. I remember those things and having to go in and you'd have to buy a membership fee when you first get in. It was like $100,
and that was just to try to keep the store.
Yeah, to keep the
alive.
store open. But then
I don't actually remember having to pay $100 for a membership fee, but okay.
Blockbuster came around. Now, what do you want to do? Go into the mom and pop and wait a week for the latest release?
Yeah, why don't you? Why don't
because
you fucking
I want
wait
it
a little
now.
bit?
I want it.
That's the problem. We all want it now. So we got rid of the jobs that were well paying, putting together our washing machines and dryers and dishwashers and cars, because they got paid well and then they could spend a little bit extra, but everybody got squeezed. And therefore we were squeezed into buying from Walmart. We were squeezed into buying from Target. But these conversations you will never have on CNN because imperfect people are having those conversations, not the approved perfect people, not the approved people from CNN, not the people who will challenge the medical pharmaceutical industry or military industrial complex Boeing advertising on CNN. Are you buying a Boeing airplane or cruise missile at any time soon? But they're advertising. Louis C.K. is not the problem. L Reeves is. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other.